All set, ain't he? Mr. Gadget over here.
Holiday a little more here. I said we might. Holiday a little more here. Is he or anything?
Kelly is, and
Well, you can turn one direction. I'll sit back.
Hey, I sent you pictures of the board. They're so cute.
hold up,
That's right.
there's a man. Coming in or out? Hey, get smart with him. Tell him, Mike.
We're live. I think the picture was precious. Yeah.
We'll, it's 5 o'clock. We'll call this meeting to order. Landfill meeting, Monday the 17th, 5 o'clock. The reason we come together at 5 tonight, we need to discuss what we're gonna do with the landfill about, because Benny's gonna be out till at least the 31st.
Wait a second, don't we need to call rolls just like regular meetings?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
You got somebody doing meetings.
We don't have, you got, something right on? No.
You got your full committee here?
No.
Yeah, well, I bet
We got a quorum.
Us, two.
6.
Who is missing?
6.
Jason.
Being on landfill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we're all on each committee.
That's right.
Willie, but he won't be here.
He's not here.
Is he on?
He's on our committee, isn't he? That's what I thought.
I thought he just sat in that night for somebody.
No, he's
He's
on
on
our
our committee.
Carolyn, she's here. I said Carolyn's here. Do you want to take roll out them, please?
Nancy Brown here. Ginger Holden here. Steve Burrow,
Here.
Willie Campbell not here, so. Jason Rasnick,
Not here. Jason Fox.
Jason, yeah, I know it's Jason. Okay, so,
And you and,
I got everybody.
That's six.
yeah. We got the roll call. Anyway, the ones that don't know, this gentleman sitting right here in the beard. Stand up, Stephen. His name's Stephen. He's been running it since Benny's been out. We need to either wait him to finish up while Benny's out.
What's this gentleman's name, Stephen?
Stephen, what's your last name?
Salmons,
Who?
Salmons, just like a hot dog place down here.
Oh, Salmon.
With Stephen with a V or a P-A? M-M-O-N-S.
Did you say with a V?
Yes.
I think he's been doing pretty good the last week or two, going back and forth to recycle center and the landfill. He's not got any certifications, so that's why we've asked Josh to come, because we don't know the legality of if he has to be just as an interim, filling in until Benny gets back.
Do we know when that will be?
As of right now, it's May 31st. But
Was there medical information turned into you or?
no, I don't know if I did. Carolyn, do you know if Benny turned any medical information?
Like an excuse,
Benny.
you got a medical excuse.
What do you, I'm sorry, I was doing something for Anthony.
Did Benny turn any kind of paperwork or any information about being off?
Yes, he did. He turned in FMLA paperwork.
But the doctor had put him off till at least the 31st, trying to get his blood pressure down and his sugar under control. because according to what he told me, and I think he told Steve, if he don't get it under control, the doctor told him he could not be here. Not being here, but being here.
His life could be in danger.
So we need to, I guess as a committee, either vote to let Stephen continue doing this job.
I'm sorry, I might have missed you said about the certifications.
Yeah, well, frankly, I'm not aware of his special certifications that Benny has. I know he's had training and goes to classes and things, but I'm not specifically aware of licensure or anything like that the landfill director has to hold, and especially on a emergency interim basis. I will say I spoke with Carolyn a little bit, and so the first step is, I think, for y'all to determine if the landfill and the other operations, recycling and the convenience centers can be operated without an actual director in place, without interrupted services to the public. And what I was getting at was with Carolyn there, I spoke with her, I guess Friday maybe. And that conversation seems to indicate to me that maybe you do need someone with the title of director to sign off on things, financially. So, at least in that regard, it seems like you need somebody with the title and authority of a director. I mean, you all are the supervising committee, not the county commission. So, I mean, you all have the authority to make this decision. It would just be any kind of financial ramifications as far as pay or anything else that affected naming someone as an interim director. You would need permission for that from the county commission. But as far as, day-to-day operations, it's your all's call. I mean, you all are the committee in charge. So whatever you feel like is necessary. And obviously with any situation, I think we have a question mark there as far as time, when he would be back, if he would be back based on health. So those are, things you need to take into account. You don't want to let a month or 6 weeks go by and still be in the same spot you're in now. So for emergency, reasons to appoint an interim, I think you all have got the authority to do it. So you all need to decide, I guess, if you think that's needed, and if this gentleman you're talking about is the appropriate candidate to do that. If you're doing some other kind of search or process that you have time to do, I don't have those answers. I don't know anything about running a landfill. But just from the legal standpoint, I do feel like you all have the authority to appoint somebody.
You got anything, Steve?
He's already doing the job. He feels like he can handle it. Everybody's good with that. And we'll run it till May 31st and then see where we're at then. Is it April 31st or May 31st? May 31st.
Chairman, I'd like to ask some questions. Stephen, what has been your primary role up till now? How long have you been there? What have you done?
As of March 10th, I've been with the landfill for 7 years. I've saved probably, at least past 3. I've been in, I guess, an assistant director role of assign bills, fill out, help with the timesheets, sign the timesheets, check time, just run around. I keep track of payments, bills, run back and forth between Karen, run bills down here. Keep track of the drivers, try to maintain their equipment as best as I can. Fill in where as needed. I drive a truck sometimes. So.
You do have a CDL?
Yes, I have a Class B CDL.
Okay.
He can drive the roll off, but he can't Drive the one that pulls to Bluntville to dump the tractor and trailer. It's two different classes.
Okay.
He does the roll-offs and stuff like that.
Well, I appreciate your service, first of all. Thank you for being with Carter County and serving this many years. Thank you for being willing to step in when we need you. I need to know that if you do step in, that you can handle the financial end of it. And I know you say you're delivering reports back and forth, but, you know, we've got some issues there where we need more consistent, clear bookkeeping. And I want to know if you have the capability to do that or to make sure that it is getting done.
I think I can definitely take care of it. I mean, I spend a lot of time in there trying to help, balance things out, try to keep track of performance, not just financial, but I try to keep track of per TDEC. We have to do random inspections to keep those. So I think I'll do all right with that. I've been working since being aware of the issues. I've been trying to help make it better. Even if I'm not if I'm not in the shop working, I apologize, I've been well all day, but if I'm not in there, I usually come in the office, try to help with the computer work, do reports and stuff like that. Try to just help out and make it clearer and better, just make it run smoother for everyone. I know the current situations, everything, so I'm trying to improve that and kind of eliminate that problem.
Are you the person that is in charge of inspecting each piece of equipment? And is there a log for all that stuff when you do it?
The drivers are responsible, and they bring them to me, and I'm made aware of it. I kind of, make it executive decisions on, what has to be fixed, like this is required to run and what can but each driver or operator is required to fill out their little sheet and they just turn it in. I mean, it's just, check the oil, water, just common sense stuff. Just try to prolong the life of it. Cause I mean, it's a hard life in trash anyways.
Absolutely.
So I try to get as much out of it as we can. So.
Yeah.
Stephen, I know, I see you down here daily, so I know you're running to death. Are you planning on trying to do the interim role and what you're doing too? Or are you going to be, is one of the ladies or somebody going to be able to start coming down to finance daily and helping you with the paperwork side of things, bringing things back and forth? Because I know you're down here quite often and I know you're back and forth, and I think the interim director role is probably going to take that from you. You're probably going to want to be out in the field more, and I don't know who would make that trek, with the paperwork and every time sheets and everything that you bring down here. Would you plan on assigning that to someone else, or are you planning on trying to still do that also?
I can get somebody else to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I have, there's several.
And that may be a quick question to ask. I just didn't know if you thought about that yet. If someone else could kind of take that off of your shoulders until you can kind of get your feet wet with this interim director role, just maybe helping you out.
Yeah, definitely. I know as of right now, my main morning role when I get there at 7 o'clock, I go in and the previous day's deposits I count and make sure they're right. I sign off on them. Any bills that come in that day, I make sure I sign them. They have PO numbers, everything's correct. Make sure they're down correctly. Then usually we have somebody that just brings them down. It's just usually if Karen or somebody calls and needs me to stop by, I usually swing by and pay. But yeah, that's no problem. I spend all over there.
If it still works for you, that's fine. Or just make sure I don't want you to have a ton on your plate and just get overwhelmed day.
The way I look at it, it makes the day go by.
Okay, just double checking.
I'd just like to say thank you for stepping up to the plate. And Benny must have had a whole lot of, how should I say it? A whole lot of confidence in you for the simple reason of picking you. He knows that you can do the job, and that ought to be enough for us, because apparently you are stepping up to plate and you are doing what should be done, and we appreciate that.
I appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity. Just trying to help out, just do my job.
Good job, little buddy.
If there's something that he cannot sign off on, or the county wouldn't, you'll write him signing off, me being chair, could I sign off on it?
I don't think so. Like I said, I know it's a little bit of an odd situation being a committee, but just because you're the chair doesn't mean you have any more authority than any other
I
member.
just asked.
Right, it's just in terms of running the meeting.
Trying to help out.
Right, so I don't think you would have that legal authority. That's the point of somebody having that title, in being the director. So I'd have to say no. I talked with Carolyn about that maybe, and if there was something, absolutely vital, I think she might have the authority to sign things, but obviously it's not the same as the appointed director of the department. So the other consideration is obviously that if he's doing this role, does that take away from the other role? Is there a need for another employee of some kind? Is there additional compensation tied to this role? Those are things you all need to decide as well.
I think that's kind of where I was getting at with the role he's currently doing. Is this gonna impede the interim director role? Do they need more help to help offset what he's doing? Does something need to be split up with the staff there? I'm not sure of all Stephen's roles. I know he does quite a bit. I hate to put someone in this role and already overwhelm them before they even get on day one. That's something I think needs to be considered. Stephen, that would be up to you to let the committee know if, maybe, I don't know if it could be today or as you go, but it may be that some more staffing would need to be brought in to, I don't know what that looks like. Just agreeing with Attorney Harden on that.
He was talking about, do we pay him what we pay Benny?
I think that's another motion that would have to be made here, right, Josh? You'd have to make the motion for the salary.
And obviously Benny's, still being compensated. He's got sick time, I'm sure. So, that's something that full commission would have to, sure there's not enough money this late in the fiscal year left in the budget to cover 2 salaries. So, that's something that would need to be voted on here and presented later tonight, probably. That's something you all were going to do.
Can we get that in tonight, or do we need to wait? Or can we?
Under the circumstances, I feel like we could, if somebody wanted to make a motion to, what's the word I'm looking for? Suspend the rules. If somebody wanted to make that motion, then I think we could get it on the floor. But if suspending the rules gets voted down, then it won't make it.
Wouldn't the first thing we need to do is make a motion to hire him as an interim until May 31st and then go from there?
Right, yeah, he's already employed, so it'd just be appointing him as the interim director, giving him that title and power. So yeah, that's step one. You can couple that with the other stuff or do it separately. That's up to you all.
Your salary separately.
I would like to make a motion that we appoint Stephen as the interim director.
Second.
Both of those.
We got a first and second to appoint Stephen for interim director while Benny's out. All in favor?
No. Did you specifically say a time or?
Until May 31st.
I didn't say that, but I'd like to amend my motion to say that.
I'd probably say until the current director returns to work, or
Because it takes another 30 days. We have to-
likely, we don't know, May 31st.
Okay. So
Until the
I'd
current.
like to amend my motion to say that he will be interim director until the director returns from medical leave.
Okay, who was second? Both of you raise your hand.
That's good.
Okay. You do. Okay. Let me go ahead and do a roll call. Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Steve Laura,
Yes.
Gary Kemp,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Jason Clausen,
Yes.
Kelly Collins, yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Now, Kelly.
Now, we need to make a motion about to send the pay to the commission and I.
Yeah, so who sets the pay for the director job? That's not state set, is it?
No,
That's county
I
set.
believe is it not tied to trustee pay? Is that what they do?
No, all the directors were set at the same rate. I think they're at 52. But at 52, all the directors, Carolyn, at 52,000.
That's right, yeah, it was,
They voted on that a few years ago when they thought they were gonna have to match a certain rate, and that didn't pass at the legislature, and they were
so
coming.
it is a set
So
salary.
every time there's been an increase, the directors have stayed the same.
You have anything to say, Carolyn? I said, do you have anything to say on this?
I mean, there is not enough money to pay two people at that rate remaining in that current budget. What's left in their, what will be left in their budget.
Even in the best case scenario where Benny returns on June the 1st, even if it's just a month and a half, there's not enough money to do that.
I think so. It's pretty close. I mean, it would be very close.
What would you advise our number to be when we make a motion about this?
So are you gonna do it the full amount or?
I don't think anybody's thinking of a lower number, so,
You have to know what he makes right now.
yeah.
So
So, I mean, we're not gonna try to approve 52,000, of course, at this time, but we want the pay to be at that rate.
It's just the difference in his current pay, I mean, she's trying to.
Turn around and get their payroll schedule and we can do it for what, 2 months?
In the minute.
Say,
Yes, yes, please, yes, ma'am.
grab it.
Motion was, and first motion was until he returns. So would the second motion not have to be, we will continue to pay him whatever we decide
As
on?
long as he's in the role of
Right, so we
indirector.
can't necessarily say May 31st then.
Yeah, we just need to say that he returns. Didn't you change that?
Yes, I did.
Right, so I mean, so we won't know the exact amount then.
No, I guess I'm asking her for sort of an estimate. Say this happens for 2 months. What would be an estimate of that number? And then we may have to come back to the commission,
Revisit.
yeah, again.
you could just get the amount, what it would take to pay through the FY at the end of June in the budget now. The commission would approve that tonight. Then once you got a little bit closer, they can adjust the new FY budget to include them.
Aren't we still missing a few employees up there that we had in the budget? Then we have a few vacancies.
Stephen, isn't there only one? I was thinking it was maybe a driver.
Yeah, we've got one, part-time driver. Yeah, there's one part-time driver, he's out, he had to have some medical things.
Open heart surgery.
Yeah, he had to have a bypass or something.
When does he do get back, or do you know?
I don't even know if he will, I don't know, it's kind of up there, because if I say something that serious, I may end up being somebody else, I don't know.
And then, Carrie is gonna be in there by herself because her helper, the part-time girl, is pregnant. She's gonna be out. And Miss Connie has a lot of medical problems. So she's in the office most time by herself. So,
It would seem just very rough numbers on their gross pay difference. It's like $5,000 for 3 months. Just very rough numbers.
Wow.
Why wouldn't we have it in the budget if we're short a driver?
Wow.
Got our full salary.
Then there should be.
It's probably just a different line item.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's gotta be paid out of the director's line item or something.
Well, and what you all saw in your packet for tonight's full meeting is a ton of budget amendments under the landfill. So they had a lot of overtime that has drawn down their line item, what money's left in line items, I should say. So that may be part of it, but I don't want to say that without Carolyn being here to correct me or whatever. But I think that may be why there's not enough money.
While we're waiting, I don't care to say it. If we don't have it in this budget, and I'll ask him to work what we're making now with the extra, in my opinion, let me rephrase that, with the extra responsibilities. So the only other place would be from unbalanced.
I agree.
Yeah.
We don't have much of a choice. Gotta have somebody in there to run it.
The landfill's in there fund balance, anybody know?
I think
I know
we,
it was getting close.
yeah, I think we spent it, didn't we? Yeah, that's why I'm hoping Carolyn gets back in the room.
I know when we done the truck deal, it was gonna be tight to get through the end of the year.
Patty Ballard Hill's gonna be here in about 15 minutes, so when we get here, we just gotta test the projector and stuff.
she'd be back. I think. Be in both places this week. See how they keep up with it anyway. I mean, I don't know.
They need more help.
Josh, when you did your rough numbers, did you calculate in Social Security at a higher rate?
That's what I meant by rough.
Okay.
That's real rough.
I just
That's how I am.
52,000 divided by 12, 32,000 divided by 12, take the difference.
Yeah.
1,700 something a month.
Say for double on that then.
I meant
10.
rough.
All right.
Rough will get you through at least a month and ask again.
For 60 days, that could absorb it.
60 days they
For
could.
60 days, but if we go much further beyond that, then we're going to.
Okay, and questions that came up while you were out of the room. Do they have anything left in the landfills unassigned fund balance? Did you just look at salary line items?
I just looked at salary line items because, you know, we just did a big budget amendment to move things around because of all the overtime. But if it's gonna create more overtime, or if there's another position then beyond 60 days, we might need to look. I mean, it's hard for me to project the amount of overtime.
Okay. So if one of us made a motion to ask the commission for $5,000, do you feel like that could get us through the end of this fiscal year with what they have?
As long as they don't have an extensive amount of overtime.
His overtime would be coming off of that too. It becomes salary, right?
Yes. If you're making him a full interim, it means he goes salaried as opposed to hourly.
Right. So that'll fill that overtime out.
So Steve,
Are you gonna bring in a part-time person to fill in some of the gaps would be the question.
Stephen, I want to look to you for advice on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe possibly we might look at doing something maybe internally instead of hiring an outside person. Maybe just somebody to, you know, just help out when I need help if I'm busy with a meeting or somewhere, you know, just can step in. Run stuff around or talk to somebody for me, just kind of. Like I said, I have no problem. Usually first thing in the morning, I sign everything and that's kind of it. When something comes up every day,
So do you think the overtime usage will increase over the next 45, 60 days?
I don't think so. I don't think we do, because right now, most everybody are overtime. I want to say I'm probably guilty of that.
I know I am, I'll admit it.
But yeah, we just trying to take care of some stuff while it's not raining. As silly as it sounds, that's a big factor with the landfill. When you gotta catch it while it's dry, and when you know if it's forecasting rain, we usually work over to try to get as much done as we can. I don't think it'll increase. I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, my only comment to that was that just Benny had said to me at one point when we were working on the budget that now is kind of the busiest time as we go into the spring. So that's the only reference point I had.
It's definitely busy, but like I said, we can handle it without increasing overtime. We'll take care of it. So.
I think for the next 60 days, we can hold overtime down and not bring in somebody to take your place and get by until we can get to the next.
He's willing to kind of help out where we're at, but like I said, as far as overtime goes, overtime shouldn't be a problem. We can do it, you know, within, you know, whatever, 8-9 hour days.
You know, you're losing Christine because she's getting ready to go on maternity leave, so that's gonna be short.
If we put another part-time girl in there to help, Amy, interested in a job. Came with them.
I do pretty much a little bit of everything there. I have a Class A, I do trash hauling, roll off,
She drives one of our
I
trucks.
do everything. And I help out in the office when they can't be there. Like if Christina has to take her kids, I can fill in the office. And I mean, I've been there for June will be 4 years.
You're part-time right now.
No,
We're
I'm
supposed to
full-time.
say.
But she could help.
Okay, I was afraid she was part-time and
No,
you were
she could-
full-time, and that would change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if she wasn't driving the truck, she could go in the office, help out. Is that correct?
Yes, and like Steven, if he has meetings or whatever, I can help out whenever that I can.
Be like his assistant if he needs, because she's already employed with the county.
Yeah, rather than trying to hire somebody for 2 months or whatever, I mean, I think it would be wise to plan on there may be some overtime.
Yeah.
If they've been short all along and now 2 more people are gone, I don't think that's unreasonable to plan on. There might be some overtime. Might want to maybe account for that.
Okay, Carolyn, what would be your advice if we make a motion to put a little bit more money into the landfill salary line items? Can we kind of do that generically?
If we do it generically, then I think we'll be fine. If we're gonna go beyond the 60 days, then we would need to see what happens within the next 60 days, and we may have to reevaluate.
Okay. Because it's really 75 days almost until the end of the fiscal year, right? 30, and whatever's left in this month. So,
Yes, it'd be, what he had told me was through the end of May, so we technically have the 4 weeks in June.
so now that we know we can absorb the director's salary, I guess I'm just kind of looking for a number to ask for the commission fund balance. 2,000, 3.
The 5,000 would more than cover it. I honestly think if there's not an extensive amount of overtime, we may be able to cover it without anything. But if you want to be safe without having to worry about it at all, the differential is about $5,000 with the additional cost of taxes and retirement and all that stuff for the differential.
Okay, and if they don't end up spending the whole 5,000,
It just rolls back into a fund balance anyway.
okay. All right, so I'm gonna make a motion that we ask the commission to pull from the unassigned fund balance for the county up to $5,000 in salary line items at the landfill. Did I say that already?
Are you doing it from their fund balance or the county's?
I thought, I said the county because I thought we had to, because I didn't know if we had anything left in landfill's unassigned fund balance. Do we have money left in their fund balance?
There should be some, not a lot.
Okay. 5,000?
There should be.
All right, then I'm going to amend my motion.
Wait, let's just start the whole motion.
Okay. All right. I would like to make a motion that we move money from the landfill's unassigned fund balance over to salary line items up to $5,000. Josh, is that a sound motion?
Maybe just add to cover potential overtime expenses
Okay,
during the director's absence.
all right. To cover potential overtime expenses due to the director's medical absence. It's a mouthful.
It would not be just for overtime, it would also be his salary.
But Miss Carolyn said she thinks there's enough in there to cover his.
Okay, so this would just be for overtime.
There's enough in the cover the director difference, she said.
To cover overtime salaries, and what did you say at the end until?
She does. Due to director's medical absence.
Okay, let me read it back. Ask the full commission to move money from landfill fund balance to landfill salary line item to $5,000 to cover for overtime expenses due to the director's medical absence.
Yes, ma'am, that's what I said.
Yeah, he was second.
I'll second it.
All right, Nancy Brown. Steve Burrow.
Yes.
Gary Kemp.
Yes.
Ginger Holden.
Yes.
Jason Clausen,
Yes.
Kelly Collins, yes. Is this starting tomorrow? Or no, we'll wait till it's voted tonight?
Well, the money you do, but
The position.
position you can do. Like I said, I certainly would bring it up in full commission tonight. It's going to come up with the discussion of the rest. Even though you all have the authority to do it, in my opinion, without any commission approval on the position, obviously you're going to discuss all this 15 minutes or whenever this comes up tonight. So, but as far as I'm aware, that's the basic things you need to do unless there's something else somebody wants to provide for.
I think that's it.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? 15 minutes for them.
Your next test.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. I'll talk to you.
Really,
Right, you can talk about what's going on.
Wow.
Stick your laptop here.
Hey, good. How you doing?
I see all the work going on out there.
Yeah.
The left side of the road is really nice so far.
I mean, Friday, but I was gonna show.
We pray and mother every day, so. I used to go back and forth. He's a freshman at Hampton, so I drop back and forth with you. Yeah, and a good friend of mine lives at too. I know you don't.
It,
They live in the nice rig.
You know,
There's some kind of.
good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Carter County Full Board of Commissioners meeting for April 17th, 2020. We're getting started a little bit. And I apologize for the delay. We had a meeting before this. Thank you for your patience. At this time, I would like to invite Director Billy Harrell to the podium to give us our egress plan.
We welcome our guests tonight to the county commission meeting for our great egress plan tonight. If we were to have a fire drill or a fire alarm, the city fire department wants everybody to exit down the steps towards the monument side and to the back parking lot. That's where we'll do accountability for everyone at the back parking lot. They don't need anybody going towards the front of the building because the city fire trucks will be out there, their personnel, and they don't want people walking with their personnel, fire department, and the truck. So if we do have a drill tonight, we'll all go out this way and to the back of there. We do have an AED on the first floor, and tonight we have an AED on the second floor. We put that up today. The commission voted to give us another AED from the courthouse, and we got that up today. It's right beside the elevators here, and our handicap bathrooms, accessible bathrooms, are at the end of this hall on the left side. At the end of this hall.
Thank you, Director Harrell. Commissioners, if you haven't signed in yet, will you please do so for the roll call? All right, it looks good. We have 22 out of 24 present. Willie is out tonight for medical reasons. Please remember our commissioner and dear friend Willie Campbell in your prayers. All right, before we approve the agenda, I'd like to make an addition. Under number 16, and even before item A, let's add a landfill emergency budget amendment that we would like to discuss with the commission. So under number 16, the first thing will be a landfill item. Does anyone else have additions or deletions, corrections to the agenda? Okay, and the floor is open for a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Aaron Frazier, second by Angie Odom. All in favor, please vote. Or if you are not in favor. Yours is not registered. There it goes. Okay. Thank you all very much. So motion passes. At this time, we will have our prayer and pledge of allegiance. Tonight, our prayer is being led by Commissioner Donnie Cable, followed by the pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Dr. Bob Acuff. Please stand.
Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, as we gather here as a legislative body, we thank you for this time we have together. And above all, Lord, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, who died on the cross for our sin, that we may have a better life here on this earth. This evening, Lord, we ask for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we as a local government and legislative body can make sound decisions to protect the residents of Carter County. We just pray, Lord, that as we go through this evening, that we'll work together for the good of this county, for good of the residents of the county. We might pull together as a team, be kind to one another, be helpful, and look forward to a time that we can agree on specific issues. We pray, Lord, for Willie this evening, that you would be with him in his illness, that you might restore him to his health. And Lord, as we continue this evening, we ask that you will be with us, that you will guide, lead, and direct us through this life. Encourage us and strengthen us through your word. We ask these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Attention, salute, and pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please.
At this time, if you are an elected or appointed official, would you stand and be recognized so that we can show our gratitude to you for your service? Okay, as you're looking over the minutes for the full commission meeting in March, we'll take a pause, but whenever you're ready, the floor is open for a motion to approve those. Motion made by Gary Kemp, seconded by Julie Gwynn. Does anyone have any corrections, additions, or deletions to the minute? Okay, please vote on approval of the amendment. Motion passes with one abstention. All right, the clerk's office will now read to us those that are seeking either renewal or first-time voters.
Ashley Kimbrell, Desiree Clark, Goldie H. Polly, Letitia Henniger, Lynetta Trivett, Melissa Campbell, Morgan Powell, Richard Lane, Sandra Smith, Michelle L. Livingston, Alicia Beard, Ann Ruth Potowski, Penny Woodson, Sherry L. Stout, Randall Kelly Crane, Hannah Denny, Tracy Lewis Guy, Lucinda Holbrook, April D. Price, Melissa Lewis, Bill Bradford, Kenneth Paul Murphy, Mark S. Duggar.
A motion to approve is made by Nancy Brown. There's a second by Commissioner Donnie Cable. Any discussion on these? All right, please vote on approval of the notary's bonds. Motion passes. It's now time for the public to have their say. If any member of the public wants to speak to us tonight, please come inside the swinging doors there to the podium. State your name, your address, and say whatever you want to say to us tonight. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you all very much. My name is Patricia Cox. I actually am the Community Relations Representative for Merit Group, which we are a managed care organization. But the reason that I came today is I had the privilege of speaking with Miss Angie earlier, and she advised me of this meeting, so I really appreciate you allowing me to come. Many of you may know or may not know that the public health emergency has been discontinued. It ended on April the 1st, and the re-verification for TennCare has started. Have not had to re-verify for the past 3 years. So anyone that is TennCare eligible, including covered kids, whether you have Amerigroup, United, or Blue Care, you do have to re-verify. One of the best ways to do that is to make sure that all residents know that they can go to the TennCare Connect site. It's just on the TN.gov site. There's a QR code. I'm gonna leave these flyers up here. I'm also gonna leave my business cards. If you have any organizations that need additional flyers, we know that they can be expensive to print. We'd be more than happy to drop those off for you. Again, it is for anyone that has TennCare. TennCare will start mailing out the re-verification forms, but they will mail them out to the address they last had. So if you do not have the same address that you had 3 years ago, you will not receive the notification. If you do not re-verify, you do lose coverage. Unfortunately, you may not know that until you go to the doctor and find out that you no longer have coverage. You can be reinstated, but that takes 90 days after you've been unenrolled. So we just want to make sure we get that message out. I will leave this up here as well. I do have some Spanish copies as well for anyone that may have populations that you know or serve that do that. And like I said, my business cards are in here as well. There is a website, there is a telephone number, and there's also the QR code. Most importantly is just to make sure that you let people know that they need to verify. They can go to the online or do the telephone call. They can also be signed a TennCare navigator if they have any questions about their eligibility. So thank you all very much. Any questions or anything? Thank you again, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Commissioners will take that stuff during the break.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay. Anyone else for public comments? Okay, we will close that portion of our evening. At this time, we invite to speak to us Mr. Terry Mahan, the Director of the Veterans Affairs, and he has some exciting news to share with us this evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you all today about the Christmas Train Project. This has been going on for quite a while, so I'm going to run through this little PowerPoint presentation real quick and kind of show you what is going on. If you haven't been to Doe River, I'm going to show you about a 60-second video of some of the things that happen up there. I don't have the sound for some reason. Well, I'm not sure why we don't have sound. Y'all can watch the video. can see some of the things that's going on. Most of the background music is kids yelling anyway, but I do have another video I was going to show you on the Christmas train. But this is some of the things that goes on at Doe River. When kids come there, we want them to experience fun, adventure. Kids are seeking adventure, and sometimes they turn to drugs and alcohol and shoplifting and all kinds of things, seeking a cheap thrill. But when they come to Doe River, we want them to do thrilling activities that develops their character and teaches them some skills. So here's some of the things we do. We want them to also have fun. We all like to have fun, and sometimes we not define it as being on the golf course or fishing, but we try to define the things kids do to have fun and try to give them a great time. And then we want to accept and we believe every kid's valuable because they're created in the image of God. And we think they're valuable and important regardless of what kind of economic background they come from, regardless of what race they are. And so we try to let every kid know that they're valued and important because they're created in the image of God. So fun, adventure, acceptance, and love. We want them to know we love them, that God loves them, and He gave Jesus to die for everything they've ever done wrong or ever will do. So we also have opportunity for you all to come up and enjoy that. Through our Day Quest programs, you bring your family, your company, your business on Saturdays throughout the summer. But anyway, that's part of what we're doing. Our mission is to inspire and equip people to be passionate followers of Christ so they become all that God created them to be. And so from the time they are 7 years old until they graduate from college, we have sequential and age-related programs that they can participate in. We even do a 9-month gap year program that kids can get 11 college credit hours for going through that program. A lot of people don't know we have it. But to run all the programs we do, we have to raise about $600,000 a year just to keep the doors open. And so a few years ago, we began to explore ways that we could be better stewards of our resources, especially during the slowest season of the year. About 2 weeks before Thanksgiving and 2 weeks after New Year's, it's real slow. Churches aren't doing retreats. Camps aren't going on, but the bills keep coming in. So we were looking for ways that we could expand our ministry during the slow season of the year, and also to produce revenue. The bills keep coming even though there's no one there. And so we heard about a camp in Oklahoma that had a train. We have a railroad. They had a railroad. So they were doing a thing called the Christmas train. We were real curious about what they were doing. So in 2013, Christmas of 2013, we went out to see what they were doing. And we were mesmerized by the experience. They were actually selling 60,000 tickets in 15 minutes on the internet, and we're doing a Disney World quality presentation that took people from the creation of the world through the resurrection of Christ on a train ride. I've got a video of that, but I don't know if we're going to be able to have sound. I guess we don't have sound, but let's see. This is their promo video.
The Christmas train is almost here, and if you've never
it's about 2 minutes long.
Let me give you a quick rundown of what this
And
is all about. In the summertime,
you can see some of the pictures in the video.
from all over the country to be
Of course,
able to
they're a
rest
camp.
camps anywhere. But when it gets chilly outside, this place transforms into a magical Christmas experience for the whole family, and it hosts over 50,000 visitors through the holiday season.
And there's their steam locomotive and their passenger coaches that they have that takes people around. They have shops where you can purchase food, souvenirs. There's other activities that go on. They costumed 350 people a night to create this magical, like I say, Disney World quality experience. But I'm going to go ahead and go pass through the video since we don't have the sound. So we went back there in 2014. We were mesmerized by the experience. Thought maybe that's something we could do at Doe River. But all these materials that you have to have, you just don't go to Walmart. So we took a different group of people back in 2014, just to kind of catch the vision. They were very helpful to us, showed us behind the scenes, showed us what they did. We went back in 2016, and at the end of 2016, people who started this Christmas train called us in and been running it for 20 years. they said, you all been coming out here for 4 years, wanting to start your own Christmas train. And the guy said, I've been praying for 5 years about closing ours down because he had a worldwide ministry. His sons were getting ready to take over the ministry and they didn't, he didn't want it to go downhill. So he said, if you guys will take it to Tennessee and keep it together as a ministry, I'll sell it to you at a fraction of its value. Well, his fractions were bigger than our whole numbers. Over time, we were able to pull it off, and we were able to bring back, well, here's what they were doing, 60,000 tickets in less than 1 hour they were selling. The true story of Christmas and the gospel message was shared with 50 to 60,000 people a year. They offered to sell it at a fraction of its value. We're going to get 2 steam locomotives. There's the other steam locomotive. 11 passenger coaches that are all steel and narrow gauge. 1.7 miles of track and thousands of railroad ties. And storyboards. These are 12 feet high and 40 feet long. They had over $400,000 in the artwork for these things. There's 43 of them that tell the story from creation to resurrection. Of course, they light up at night. You don't see anything but the storyboard when the train goes by. There's a narration that comes on in the train with a musical score. It's done very professionally. They costume, we got over 1,000 costumes that were all custom made. Everyone, 40-something Christmas trees that are fully decorated. 250 Christmas wreaths, one that is 16 feet in diameter. A quarter of a mile of decorated garland, plus all kind of other decorations. And all of those assets were acquired. They were brought back here to Doe River Gorge. It took 57 tractor trailer loads from Tulsa, Oklahoma. We got it all here, and on the whole, COVID hit. The week after they got here, COVID hit. And so we shut down for 2 years, and we got ready to crank the project back up, and it took us a year to get the engineering plans completed, which those are now completed. And you might, if you've been to the gorge, this is our office building here. This is the depot. The tunnel is right here that goes back into the gorge. We're going to have a connector track from that tunnel that'll go kind of down the road and connect to a new loop, and this green will be a loop about 1.6 miles, and the Christmas train will go on that loop. We were able to acquire this sawmill property. We had been hoping for that and praying for that for 25 years. So we got that, and if you've been by the sawmill property, you notice we've cleaned up a lot of the stuff there. Fortunately, Chuck Mead Tractor, has been gracious to us. He's agreed to loan us all the equipment we need, heavy dump trucks, bulldozers, track hose, anything we need for the grading process here. So we've been cleaning that up, and we're getting ready to put this out for bid. We've got 2 of the 3 bids in right now, and hopefully major work can start very soon. This is what it will look like, hopefully, when it's completed. Our goal is to run the first Christmas train in Christmas of 2024. So we believe it'll generate revenue for the gorge where we can continue to operate without, so that all the money we raise hopefully can go to new construction and new development, industry expansion. It'll expand the ministry so that thousands of people can hear the true story of Christmas and the gospel message. And we believe it'll promote a lot of tourism and economic development to Carter County and to this entire region. Their camp was located 60 miles from Tulsa. And if you leave East Tulsa, there's not much there to cornfields. So almost everyone that went to the Christmas train drove at least 60 miles to get there. And the last 9 miles was on a 1.5 lane road that was full of potholes. But they would get 60,000 people out there in 17 nights. So I think this will be a great draw to this area, and it'll share the message of Christ and the true Christmas story, which is, in my opinion, is very lacking in our culture these days. I appreciate this commission. I appreciate the prayer, the pledge of allegiance to the flag, and all you all do to just promote a county that has godly values This is a jewel. We have kids come to Doe River from 24 different states, and they're amazed about what we have here. They say you just don't realize what you do have. So thank you all. And is there any questions? I'd like to answer those. Okay, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mahan, and I want to apologize to you that we didn't have sound for your video. Please accept our apologies. So at this time, we welcome Ballad Health. And I believe there's more than one person with them tonight, so I'll just let them all introduce themselves and tell you their positions as they come.
Chair Holdren, thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. And you go, sure. It's great to see you. Thank you for having us here. I moved here to this region about 10 years ago. And what a great place to be. We're grateful to be able to serve this region and grateful to be a part of this community. And so an update about Ballad Health, where we are, where we're trying to go. We'll start with Sycamore Shoals and Dwayne. Dwayne, how long have you been here?
I've been here a while. I've been at Sycamore Shoals for 28 years.
So our leader of Sycamore Shoals, I would say he's part of the community. And we're grateful for Dwayne. Dwayne happens to be a University of Tennessee fan. He wasn't happy about me getting hired when I got here because I was a Florida fan. I'm sorry. But we have a lot of fun with that. But we've got a great hospital here and we've got great services in this community. Emergency medicine, inpatient acute care. You can see all the services we provide here. And I think the community has grown to rely a lot on this hospital. Keep on going. What a lot of people don't know is that rural hospitals all over the country are closing. About 85% of the geography of America is rural. And rural America is suffering right now. And it has been for about 10 years. That's why Ballad was created. We were created because we saw about 10 years ago that healthcare in rural communities was suffering and hospitals were closing. And we said, how do we sustain access in this region? And the good news is that in every part of this region, since Ballad was created, every single region, every single community in this region still has its hospital. And that's not true in 150 communities in this country. Yeah, keep going, I'm sorry. So, keep going. I'm gonna skip through a bunch of slides. So this is Ballad Health. We're right here in Elizabethton, but we're in a region the size of New Hampshire. We have 21 hospitals. We serve over 83,000 admissions to our hospitals. And we have over 3 million annual outpatient visits to our hospitals throughout the region, including right here in Elizabeth. Now, we'll start with quality. I think what all of us want for our families and for our friends is that when you have to use the hospital, you get high quality care. Go to the next slide. Right here in Elizabethton, our hospital has been recognized by national organizations for high quality. Health Grades, care checks, Montrose, which is part of health grades or care checks. Sycamore Shoals has been recognized as among the top 10% of the hospitals in the country for the services that we provide. That was just Sycamore Shoals. This is all the rest of our hospitals. Overall hospital care, trauma care, orthopedic care, keep going. Cardiovascular care, keep going. Neurological care.
That's okay, it'll come back.
Surgical care, keep going. Pulmonary. No matter what service you need in healthcare, you have hospitals in this region that are among the top 10% performing in the United States. Now, we're going to come back to quality in a second, but let me talk to you about cost. We have sought, since we created Ballot, to create lower cost healthcare at higher value. And what does that mean? If you're an employer here, if you're Eastman, if you're a self-insured employer, or if you're insured, our goal is to make sure the cost of healthcare is low. If you look, this is national data. Our hospital cost per adjusted patient day is lower than all Tennessee nonprofit hospitals. And if you look at Ballot Health overall, we're about equivalent to Tennessee even for-profit hospitals, which tend to be more efficient. Look where Sycamore Shoals is. We're keeping the cost of healthcare low. Go to the next slide. Now, let me tell you, one of the things you've probably heard as county commissioners, and by the way, thank you for your service, because it's not easy to be a local official, because you hear all the complaints. Somebody goes to the ER and they wait a long time, you hear about it. So do I. And about 6 months ago, with all the complaints we've gotten about long wait times, which have been longer, I was curious, are we really bad, or how do we compare to the rest of the hospitals in the country? I'm going to come back to this in a minute with the staffing shortages. But I said, if I was going to compare our hospitals, Johnson City and Hudson Valley, highest volume hospitals, if I was going to compare them to the best hospitals, if I were to ask you, who are the hospitals you would want us to compare to? University of Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Fort Sanders and Knoxville, University of Virginia in Charlottesville, Carilion Clinic, Cleveland Clinic. The percent of patients who leave the ER before being seen, patients who are waiting so long, they leave without being seen. Johnson City Medical Center and Holston Valley are below the national and Tennessee averages. University of Tennessee, Fort Sanders, University of Virginia, Charlottesville, all way above us. So here's what I would say. Our ER wait times are too long. They are, because we don't have enough staff. But this is what's going on all over the country. These are some of the best hospitals in the Southeast, and Ballot Health hospitals are outperforming them. Go to the next slide. Average time from patient presentation until discharge. Same thing. Johnson City, below the Tennessee and national average. And we're right there below University of Tennessee, Fort Sanders, Vanderbilt, University of Virginia, Carilion, and Cleveland Clinic. Our hospitals are actually performing better. Next slide. So those are wait times. This is one that's really important. If you're having stroke symptoms and you come to the ER, the most important thing is how long from the time you enter the ER until your brain scan comes back. If you have symptoms of a stroke, we have to know immediately if that's the case. And if that's the case, we can start treatment. The national average, 70% of patients who come in with stroke symptoms receive their brain scan results within 45 minutes of arrival. look at ballot health. Almost 90%. We exceed the national average materially in taking care of people who have stroke symptoms. Go to the next slide. The situation right now is bad. There's not enough nurses. There's projected to be 800,000 nurses leaving the profession in the next 4 years. And as it stands now, there's a massive shortage of nurses. And that's what we've been trying to step over. And this is what Dwayne's been trying to deal with at the hospital. There's not enough nurses. But yet, 5 years ago, we created ballot health. And we said 5 years ago, this region does not need 2 level 1 trauma centers. If we have 2 level 1 trauma centers, we're diluting our capacity and we're not helping people. And so we consolidated the 2 level 1 trauma centers. And since that occurred, we reduced mortality by 40%. For the first time in history, this region's level 1 trauma center went through a state survey, the bottom there, January 2023. Actually, you can't see it, it's below the screen, but our level 1 trauma center is now one of the top 10% performing trauma centers in the United States, in Johnson City, 10 miles from here. That couldn't have happened 5 years ago before we merged and created the bottom. Go to the next slide. Keep going, I'm gonna skip through some of this stuff. Stop here. The Appalachian Highlands Care Network. This is something we started 3 years ago. We have 5,000 people from this region who have no health insurance and they're low income, who are also at risk of diabetes or other chronic disease. We told them, if you come enroll with the Appalachian Highlands Care Network and agree to show up for your exams, your healthcare is free. 5,000 people. So no one else in the country is doing this. We're doing it right here for your constituents. Keep going. Greenville, Tennessee. There were 2 hospitals competing with each other. Tacoma and Laughlin. Tacoma was a hospital that neither Wellmont nor their partners, the Advent Health System, wanted. They kept putting it back and forth with them. Laughlin was going broke. Their bank had called their debt, and they were going under. When we created Ballot, we took over both hospitals, and both hospitals had lost $70 million in the 5 years leading up to our merger. We merged those hospitals together. We closed one, consolidated and created one hospital for Greenville. The other hospital we turned into a residential facility for women who are drug addicted and pregnant. We have served over 200 women who were homeless, addicted, and pregnant. We now help those women deliver babies that are much healthier. Now, no one's paying us for this. We did this because this was our mission. But what Greenville now has is a residential facility for women who are pregnant, who suffer from addiction or homelessness. And they have a hospital that this year, the year that we created Ballot, that hospital lost $14 million. This year, it has a $6 million operating gain. We've now successfully, I think, secured a hospital in Greenville that was going to close. And now we're serving all these women who are suffering from addiction and who are pregnant. And thankfully, hopefully, keep those children in foster care, which I think all of us want to do.
Mr. Levine, if you don't care to kind of
We'll wrap it up.
wrap it up a little bit,
We'll go to
please.
the
We
end.
have a 10-minute limit.
Go to the end. Go to the slides where the staffing stuff is. That's it. So before COVID, our nursing turnover rates were 15%. And during COVID, we lost about half our nursing staff. And you can see the blue line, the dark blue line. This is the last 3 years of what our turnover was. Right now, we're at 14% turnover, which is lower than our turnover was even before COVID. We have taken enormous steps to try to stabilize our nurse staffing. And as commissioners, you hear the complaints. When someone's waiting in the ER or they're short-staffed, that's true. We have been short-staffed and we have had long ER wait times, but this is the reason. You can't operate a health system with 26% nursing turnover and survive. So over the last 2 years, we have reduced our turnover 40% below the pre-pandemic levels. We've raised our starting wages by 40%. Just to give you an idea, and I'll end it here. Before COVID, Ballard had about $250 million of cash flow. $100 million of that is for debt service. So we only had $150 million for capital. When you have 21 hospitals, $150 million it's barely enough capital. We've now increased our starting wages by over $100 million. And we're paying over $120 million for contract labor as we try to climb back out of this staffing shortage. The reality is that we've got a challenge financially. We're about to report that this year through the most recent quarter, we're losing $17 million. I don't think that's the end of the world. I think that we're going to come out of it. But hospitals are struggling, rural hospitals are closing, but none in this region. And that's really because we created Ballard 6 years ago. We were able to come together, support each other, reduce redundant cost, and keep going through to the end. That's it. I mean, I know this is a short amount of time, but I appreciate it. I appreciate you allowing me to come here and tell you, we're here, we're not going anywhere. Sycamore Shoals is a really special hospital. It's going to be here for certainly as long as I'm going to be here. Hopefully that's a long time. But, as a health system, we're struggling. But we also are digging our way out of it. And we just need your continued support, and we appreciate you allowing us to be here.
I'd like to ask you a question. I know you're having trouble with staffing because we've all heard this. I'm sure everybody here's got phone calls and stuff. On your staffing, is it true that you pay nurses at the med center better than you do at Sycamore Shoals? Why is that? I don't understand. And a lot of these nurses don't either. I've got 2 in the family myself. And I mean, they're really ready to run, had a different profession. They worked as hard for their degree as any other nurse. Why are you doing that?
That's a great question. And the answer is true. We are doing that. Our hiring rates for nurses at Johnson City Medical Center are $27 an hour. The hiring rates for nurses at Sycamore Shoals are $24 an hour. It's a $3 difference. Why is that? When patients come into Sycamore Shoals cannot take care of high acuity patients that have really serious illness. Johnson City Medical Center is a high acuity tertiary hospital. What happens if you can't fully staff Johnson City Medical Center? Patients who come to Sycamore Shoals who are really sick, if there's not enough nurses at JCMC, you can't transfer them in. So our strategy has been, we've got to fully staff JCMC because if patients come here to Sycamore Shoals, we have to be able to stabilize them and get them transferred to Johnson City Medical Center. But if there's not enough nurses there, they have to stay at Sycamore Shoals where we don't have the skill to take care of really, really sick patients. And so the goal has been fully staffed JCMC, Holston Valley, and Bristol, so that when patients who are really sick, if they have neurological emergencies, serious cardiac emergencies, or trauma, we can get them stabilized and transferred to one of the tertiary hospitals as quickly as possible. You have to do that when you don't have enough nurses. You've got to make sure that you can stabilize them and get them to the tertiary hospital, or people will unfortunately die.
Well, let me tell you this. I can tell you that I know a lot of people that would go to Sycamore Shoals before they would the Med Center. And if it came to needing that, they would go to North Carolina towards Winston-Salem for the simple reason. Our nurses deserve at Sycamore Shoals the same pay the ones at Johnson City deserves. And it's like you're trying to cut their throats, and that ain't right.
I don't agree. I don't agree. When you're dealing with patients that are seriously, highly acute, there's a hospital less than 10 miles down the road that is a major teaching hospital. And the nurses in that hospital, by the way, my wife is an ICU nurse at Franklin Woods. She takes patients from Sycamore Shoals. When you go to Johnson City Medical Center, there are full-time 24/7 pulmonologists covering that ICU. Those patients are really sick and very highly acute. Those nurses at Sycamore Shoals, if they want to get paid more money to treat more highly acute patients, there's a hospital just down the road they can do that at. But we have to be able to coordinate this. And look, these nurses are all very special. They're all very good. At the end of the day, though, as a major health system, when patients are really sick and they're stacked up in the ER at Sycamore Shoals and they need to get to a high acuity hospital, if it's any of your family, you want them to be able to get into JCMC as fast as possible. And if there's not enough nurses there, they can't get there. And so this is a team effort. This is not Sycamore Shoals versus JCMC. It's not Elizabethton versus Johnson City. This is a team effort. This is a regional effort. And so I would ask you, do not view this parochially. We are trying to create a system of care where if people are really sick, they can get to the highest acuity hospital as quickly as possible. And there are certain things Sycamore Shoals can't do that JCMC can do, only if they have enough staff. And so if it's your family, you want JCMC to be able to take care of it.
And please, why don't you bring some of your other people to our hospital to make it better? It's like you're not wanting to work with our hospital.
That's not true.
Well, I feel like it is. I really do.
Well, we've recruited cardiologists to this community. We've recruited surgeons. We are sustaining this hospital and we are supporting the hospital. What is it that you think we're not doing?
I think it's unfair to pay your nurses. I don't blame them. I walk too. I would blame them if they ever wanted.
They're not walking. If they want to make more money, they can go right down the street to JCMC and help us receive those high acuity referrals. That's what we're doing.
We're going down the road and paying more for guys to get there. So they ain't coming out.
We had a question.
Commissioner Brown, I think you made your point, okay, I'm gonna let Commissioner Odom speak.
Yes, sir. I have a question. Some years back, the birthing center was taken from our hospital, which had been there ever since Carter County Memorial Hospital had opened. I direct a crisis pregnancy center, and at the time, we started also a crisis pregnancy center in Mountain City and run it for 3 years and then gave it to that town. This birthing center was taken away without any knowledge to our community as far as citizens or this commission, to my understanding and looking back at the minutes. It was closed because I spoke with the Certificate of Need Department in Nashville, and she then sent me the representatives that made those recommendations, which one does work for Ballot or is on the board of Ballot Health. But I felt like it was really undermining to take away, as you're saying, acute care goes to Johnson City. Childbirth is the most basic care. That also caused our local OBGYNs, Dr. Lane, Dr. Green, and all of them to have to move. You know, if you're in the top of Red Mountain, or if you're in Butler, or if you're in Mountain City, or even the top of Shady, we're talking 36 miles or more that direction, then adding on Johnson City for travel. You don't always have a chance for that as far as childbirth. And that's not just the fact of them giving birth, but when their child is in there for longer, these are people that don't even have cars or transportation. So when they're going for visits for their babies, I know because we have to try to pay and figure out a way to get in there. And so my question to you, since the drug issue is even more over here, why isn't more of the focus driven, like she's saying, towards some of these county areas, like you're saying, but this is basic care, birthing the center to have a baby. Our town don't have that. And it really was very, I feel, I'm sorry, deceitful for that to be taken away, because when I spoke to the certificate of need department, they did tell me if one citizen had filed a complaint, we would have been able to keep it because it was a basic care need. But it was done before any citizens knew where to complain or to even have a meeting.
So the first question I have back is, number one, you mentioned somebody on our board. Who is that you're talking about?
Well, I won't mention names right now. I will be glad to provide you with the,
Well, you mentioned it publicly. I'd like to know who you're talking about.
well, I mean, Rusty Crowe was one that gave the recommendation.
Who's not on our,
Well, or he is involved with the hospital. At that time, I have, this is 10 years back. I have that
so
letter.
you know, just so you know, the decision about
And
delivering.
the other was Kent Williams. He made the recommendation. He was state representative at the time. Kent Williams made the other recommendation to close it before we knew about it.
So you know, number one, I wasn't here when that happened. That was before I came here.
Yes.
So I can't answer anything about what the decision was at that time or what happened.
Would you be willing to maybe look at bringing that service back to our county?
No, you guys need to understand, 140 rural hospitals have closed, and in the last year, hospitals all over the country are closing OB units. You have the privilege, this region has the privilege of right up the road, just a few miles, Franklin Woods and JCMC and a children's hospital with a level 3 NICU. Why would you do that? Why would you dilute the volume? In healthcare, volume means quality. The more you deliver, the more babies you deliver, the better you are at it. JCMC is one of the top hospitals in the state for delivering babies. And we have a children's hospital with a level 3 NICU. Why would you not take advantage of that? Does it have to be in Carter County?
A lot can't get there, sir.
No, that's
I mean,
not true.
you
They
need to
can't.
Speak to us. No, they can't. NantTrans, you have to schedule ahead of time. It costs money to even ride NantTrans. I work with them and I would love for you to.
Let's work together.
Come to my center and we will sit and talk and I'll help you see.
Let's work together on that. But you can't have, when you have a shortage of OBGYNs, do you know that in Kingsport, right now today in Kingsport, the only OBGYNs that are delivering babies in Kingsport are employed by Ballot Health. H&G will not cover either hospital in Kingsport. They'll only cover this. SOFA, we all know SOFA, how good they are. They have OBs in Kingsport. They're not delivering babies in Kingsport. Their babies in Kingsport are having to be delivered in Johnson City. There's a shortage of these doctors. So no, you don't dilute that. You try to make sure you sustain volume and sustain quality. Now, I'm with you. If there are people here that have an access problem, let's definitely solve that. And I'm here to work with you 100%.
It's huge. And I'm also familiar with Strong Start, which is through you all. And they call me on a daily basis. I'm being honest. And I'm grateful that they go into the homes, but they call me saying, I'm here with this girl. We're through the Strong Start program. There's a grant. Do you have size 5 diapers? I need an electric wheelchair. I need a crib. I need a bassinet. Because we're allowed to go in the homes, but we can't afford to buy anything. I'm not funded by grants, but we're supplying the things to these patients that are not always in Carter County that your Strong Start program goes. So we need to talk about really what does that Strong Start grant cover because it might.
Thank you for that. And thank you for raising Strong Starts. So y'all know what Strong Starts is. Ballot started this. We deliver every baby in this region. And our goal is to make sure that when a woman presents and is pregnant, that we identify every opportunity to intervene. We believe they're going to deliver a baby who's going to have traumatic issues. If the mom is subjected to addiction, abuse, neglect, illiteracy, we intervene. No one pays us for this. We started this program ourselves as Ballot Health. And our goal is that we deliver children in this region who don't end up in foster care, who can be kindergarten ready by the time they're 5 years old, who can read by the time they're in the third grade at third grade level, and who can graduate high school, college, or career ready. No one pays us to do this, and we started this program ourselves. Strong Starts is a program we started to help you do what you do. I want to help you do what you're doing, so let's talk about it. But before Ballot, this didn't even exist. This is actually a positive thing for the region because it just didn't exist before. So thank you for raising that. So let's work together on it and let's create access. But access doesn't mean every single hospital does the same service. It means we have to collaborate and work together. I did not mean to go over my time, but I'm grateful that you allowed me.
Well, we're grateful that you came, and as I understand it, Sycamore Shoals is the second largest employer in Carter County. Is that right?
I think so, and it will continue to be.
So we're grateful that you're here. And I'll choose it. So thank you very much. Okay. Ms. Whitney, are you coming to present the additions and deletions? That's the next item on our agenda, item 13.
All right, so you have in front of you, one sheet is about deletions and one has additions. Any questions on any of them? Some of those that are deleted, the businesses will probably have closed. Some stuff on here that got tax exempt. Some of the information was having to do with water utilization changes that they made. This is from Ronnie Taylor's office.
A comment, because there's several commissioners in the county, would you all explain what these names and these amounts represent, what initiates them?
I'll do my best. Rollbacks mean, you see a rollback on there, that means they had to pay back taxes for 3 years. They previously was on what's called the green belt. That's 15 acres or more land. They get a special rate. At any time, fall under 15 acres, then you have to pay 3 year back taxes on that. So that's what the rollbacks mean. It says 3-year rollbacks that will be collected on the rollback tax. The others, the deletions, it's just, I don't know how to explain it to you. Like Betsy Town Mercantile on the deletion sheet, their business is now closed. So therefore, we took out assessment at the 437. So that's where it changed. And the tax amount is what they owed every year, and that's where all that changed. Does that make sense to everybody? So we actually did delete 40,867 for the year, but we brought back in 59,892 for the year. That's not what our office brings in. We've measured over 100 houses that's going on to this year. And I have worked on that off as personal property. And there's a blue packet in there that Mr. Taylor wanted y'all to be aware of. There's a map on there that has the ratios on it, current ratios for the counties in Tennessee. We are the one that says 1, those counties just came through reappraisal, so they're going to be at 1. As you can see, we're not a reappraisal year, but we're not as bad on the ratio as some of the counties are. And it's just a note he got from Gabe Levy about Tennessee and their property taxes and stuff. It just gives a little note on that. So he says, if you have any questions, please feel free to come in our office and see us. If you need to know how we do our jobs, please come see us. Because we work very hard for the
One thing, what she just mentioned on that, that's what I mentioned to the budget committee the other night, that 0.7212 ratio that gets equated into the tax relief money that our citizens receive, which means they will be getting less money this year. We went over that in budget the other night, so.
Thank you both very much. So, on the advice of our attorney, I'm gonna ask Gwen to change something because she's currently set up to take a motion on additions and deletions. Let's do them separately. Let's do additions and then we'll do a separate motion for deletions. Okay, so she's put up additions first. So if you'll go to your sheet that is things that are added to the tax rolls that come to almost $60,000. Aaron, would you still like to be the motion on that?
Yeah, that's fine.
And Nancy the second? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, please vote on the addition. Is it an iPhone? All right, I have a charging cord for an iPhone. All right, so the additions has passed, and now the sheet that talks about those items that are deleted from the tax rolls.
Additions is still up there, Madam Chair.
I see, thank you. All right, so that motion passed. Now we're gonna do deletion, yes. Okay, we have a motion made by Aaron Frazier and second by Todd Smith. Any questions or discussion? All right, please vote on deletion. Okay, motion passes. Do you want me to break now or do you want to continue? Okay, I'm going to continue. We have mayoral proclamations, so Mayor Patty Woodby will come forward and present each of those. She has 3.
Hi, everyone. I have 3, but we're gonna move the Alexanders to next month. The family had an illness, and so they did not make it. I'll go ahead and do the first one. It's recognizing Children's Mental Health Acceptance Day in Carter County. Whereas addressing the complex mental health needs of children, youth, young adults, and families today is essential to the health of Carter County. And whereas ensuring access to services that are family-driven, youth-guided, and culturally appropriate places upon our community a critical responsibility. And whereas it is appropriate that a day should be set apart each year for the direction of our thoughts toward our children's mental health and well-being. And whereas Tennessee Voices, through its unique approach, is effectively caring for the mental health needs of children, youth, young adults, and families in our communities. Now therefore, I, Patty Whitby, Mayor of Carter County, Tennessee, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the laws of the great state of Tennessee, do hereby proclaim May 5th, 2023 as Children's Mental Health Acceptance Day in Carter County. This year's theme, See Me, Hear Me, Brighter Days Ahead, reminds us to stand united in a commitment to promoting acceptance of mental health needs and empowers us to strive to meet the mental health needs of every child, youth, young adult, and family in Carter County. And the second one's the mayoral proclamation to commend Alfred Al King. We're going to do a proclamation honoring Al King. This is Al's daughter. Would you introduce yourself?
LaDonna King.
LaDonna King.
I'm the middle of five.
And I'm going to read it to you, and we're going to present her with it. Whereas Alfred King was a lifelong lover of basketball early in life when his dad placed a peach basket on the side of a barn to serve as a goal through to high school. When in his senior year, he led his team to the state tournament and made All-State to playing semi-professional ball on multiple teams. The FBI in Washington, D.C., and the Great Southern Trucking Company in Jacksonville, Florida. Whereas Mr. King was devoted to his parents and 5 siblings and remained a devout family man who married Margaret King from Roan Mountain, raised 5 children in Elizabethton, and was a much-loved and influential presence in the lives of 11 grandchildren and 13 great-grandchildren. And whereas Mr. King was a lifelong member of Borderview Christian Church, where he lovingly gave himself as a friend, a teacher, and an elder, whereas Mr. King served the Elizabethton Boys and Girls Club for 15 years, scheduling games for over 100 teams and eventually becoming executive director. And whereas Mr. King kept the scorebooks and announced the players and the play-by-play at the National and American Little League baseball games for many years, had the press box at the ball field dedicated to him and affectionately named the Owl's Nest in his honor. And whereas Mr. King was indicted into the Carter County Sports Hall of Fame in June 2014. And whereas Mr. King lived and worked in Carter County for over 60 years and was admired and respected by many in the community, including the many children he mentored. And whereas Mr. King was fond of saying, without love in our hearts, we have nothing, and lived the adage, giving freely of his time, energy, and attention, not only to family and friends, but to any member of the community who needed him, regardless of station or stature. So I'd like to present this proclamation to you on behalf of myself and the Carter County Commission, and thank you for everything you've done in your day too. You're welcome.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I can't remember Al being at all the ball games all over town all the time, and it's a very fond memory. All right, Mayor Patty, did you have anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Okay, then I will believe, because we've added this at the last minute and Aaron may not know all the details, I believe Ms. Kelly Collins is coming forward to present what is needed at the landfill at this time.
We'll go ahead and take a break now, right, when we get into the committee here.
You think it's gonna be a long one? This motion is coming up.
He's on.
Okay, further request of Bradley Johnson, we're gonna take a break now, 10 minutes.
Hey, that locomotive done reported Brad Hill in 48.
No,
I can take a picture of that. Himself, he said you can have this.
Nice job.
Okay. Your mama said, don't get me on with. I said, yeah.
Nashville this weekend playing ball.
Still in nursing.
This is just the routine.
That's good.
That was my first thought.
Bad.
Here it comes. I don't know.
Also, in Prague, you know, weapons in those court.
Yeah.
Somebody in this room might
Not could swap places if it
have. During the break, you could,
Troublemaker, John, I charge.
Got that wide, got that one.
You know, I never have
I wasn't gonna bother you.
Because he is the CEO. Gary have done. The gentleman that was here, where is it?
Come on a little bit. He helps. She needs.
Just tell that. Don't bring you. I've got it in the house. I mean, if you don't mind me bringing it over there and put it in. Absolutely. We do something like this.
Resignation. When Benny said that he was I'm trying to think he said, no, There were a lot of things I'd like to so sick and so.
It's a note. I don't have it in a notebook. I thought that, I just
Today, I had to make a decision. Recliner wants to. I want to go to McDonald's.
You said it'll be.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Bob, how are you? Introduce you. Might as well be. Stephen Sanders.
With the eyes.
Got in upstairs, out in the road.
You're preaching to the choir. No, I wouldn't. I seen, but they his holy meetings. I feel that. The truth is. Nobody's here. He's here. Great. Retired. And just right. We're in the dump all the time. That's some way to keep it like it up there. He's somewhere to put it in. So you can gauge that. And I did not have jurisdiction. Go in my car, get out of my way. I'll tell the attorney general what we do.
Hear me to death. You do a lot of medals, you know that. I did. About 40 minutes has just been by this clue. I said, don't do it. I'll tell you,
Probably got something in his waistband.
It wears good on my.
Probably got something in his waistband. His waistband.
Flat out.
Your timing ain't working.
That's cold hard fact.
Way extra long.
Reach in there. One of these days, he's gonna get there. He'll reach in there and be a mouse trap.
One car.
They need to cost $8 to get the athletic parts. I was like,
That was enough.
I like
Everything he's awesome.
That's why.
I'll take a, so that's what 50% of your cardboard is. I know that's a totally different thing. The whole thing about it
Unless they've got me too. It starts me off. It's okay.
Billy, I said, okay, Billy, you know, next time I ever ask you a question, you mark it down. It was
Troublemakers back.
EMA. This Representative Faxon, get you no word. Are you standing up?
All right. We continue. Okay, just a brief background on this motion coming up. Mr. Lyons has taken, the landfill has taken a medical leave. I think maybe till May 31st, sorry. And the committee had to have a special call meeting today before full commission, landfill did. And we voted to take in Mr. Stevens, my first name, I've got it down here. Stephen Salmons as a interim director until Mr. Lyons comes back. The problem that we have, and maybe might not be a big problem, is we want to make sure that we have enough money for overtime. We think we've got enough money to pay him out of fund balance, out of the landfill fund balance, but we're not sure if there may be some, a little bit of overtime. So we want to make it, the landfill committee wanted to make a motion to allow the landfill committee to move money from landfill, their fund balance, our landfill's fund balance, to a salary line item to cover overtime expenses, up to $5,000 due to the director's medical absence. So we don't think we're going to have to come to full commission to ask for any money right now.
All right, first, I'll recognize Aaron Fraser with his hand up, and then Julie Cameron. We haven't asked for much yet. Aaron Fraser.
Don't we need to suspend the rules since it's come through?
Well, okay, I thought since it was on the agenda, we didn't have to do that.
Yeah, it's still a budget amendment that didn't come
Okay.
through.
We'll back up there. We're going to need a motion to suspend the rules from somebody.
All right, I'm just letting Gwen catch up. So this is the motion to
Suspend the rules
suspend the rules.
for this particular subject.
Yes. Just for the landfill discussion. Okay. Now, we'll take a motion to suspend the rules if you're willing to do that. Aaron Fraser on the motion, Cody McQueen on the second. Is there any discussion? All right, this vote is just to allow us to present something that hasn't been through budget committee. So we're just suspending the rules right now.
Basically, we're creating the budget amendment out of thin air right now.
Yes. Okay, so let's vote on that. Okay, the motion to suspend has passed.
Okay, so now we need a motion. Can I make the motion?
Yes.
Okay, then I make the motion to ask full commission to allow the landfill committee to move money from landfill fund balance to salary line item to cover overtime expenses up to $5,000 due to the director's medical absence.
Votes off. Okay.
That's all right if they want to.
Will it let you? The motion, do you want to make that motion?
Yeah, I mean, this is a motion.
Okay, Aaron Fraser, do you want to say that motion?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now is there discussion? Anybody need to know further reasoning, this is necessary, what's happening?
Aaron made second.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, I would like to ask Stephen Salmons to come forward, or at least stand where you're at, Stephen, if you're more comfortable doing that. If you all do not know this man, he has been with the county at the landfill for 7 years. His name is Stephen Salmons. And the landfill committee this evening voted him as interim director as long as Benny is out on medical leave. So everybody say hi.
Hi.
Stephen, we're here to help you. You can call on any one of us if you need something, okay?
You saying hi?
We're grateful for your willingness to step in and help us out. All right. If there's nothing further, we'll vote. All right, motion passes. All right, now Budget Chair Fraser.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, first up on, somebody else can make the motion. Somebody else can first and second the motions for a little bit. Motion to authorize the finance department to consult with Blackburn, Childers, and Stiegel to correct the audit findings at a cost not to exceed $14,400 with funding coming from unassigned fund balance. Appropriation account is 101G 100-308 Consultants. And I'll put that in the form of a motion. You'll have to, when my phone's messed up, you'll have to throw me in. My phone's messed up, it's rebooting.
Can we just go with what's on the screen?
Yeah, but she'll still have to throw my votes in.
Oh, I got you. Okay. So we have a motion by Steve Burrows and a second by Jerry Prophet. Is there any discussion on this item? Okay, let's vote.
Yes. All right, motion to approve the list of items to be sold on Gov Deals for the Highway Department and the Sheriff's Office. Josh, do we need to do two separate ones or just the one?
I would do them separately.
Okay. We'll do it first up, motion to approve the list of sale items to be sold on Gov Deals for the Highway Department.
All right, we need to give Wayne just a second to get it straight. So first the highway.
And we got some clarification. The reason that this is coming up this way is there has to be a budget amendment that goes along with it for the auditors in the minutes. So.
Okay, so Angie on the motion, Julie Gwynn on the second, to approve the highway items. We sold on Gov Deals. Any questions? All right, let's vote on that one. Motion passes.
Let me know when you've got it set up for the 2, 3 years, whatever you want to call it. And motion to approve the list of items to be sold on Gov Deals for the Sheriff's Office.
Motion by Frazier, second by Jason Clausen. Any
discussion? Please vote. Pass, sir.
Motion to approve the Toshiba copier lease for the assessor's office.
Motion by Aaron Frazier, second by Todd Smith. Please vote. Motion passes.
Next up, motion to approve county fund budget amendment 101, number 8, items 1 through 13 in the amount of $53,362.76, with $15,600 coming from reserve accounts and $3,000 coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
Okay, so we have a motion by Gary Kemp and a second by Angie Odom. Does anybody need clarification or anything on this one? Okay, let's vote.
Thank you, guys. Motion to approve motion to approve solid waste fund budget amendment 116-5, items 1 through 10 in the amount of $97,000 with no funds coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
Motion by Frazier, second by Brown. Let's vote.
Thank you. Motion to approve drug fund budget amendment 122-1, item number 1, in the amount of $4,000 with no funds coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
Motion is by Frazier, second is by Odom. If there's no questions, let's vote.
Thank you, guys. Motion to approve highway fund budget amendment 131-1, item number 1, in the amount of $128,700 with $100,000 coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
Motion Frazier, second Clausen. This is for asphalt mostly.
For the schools, yeah.
Yeah, and the schools will reimburse. Well, that's not exactly the right way to word it, is it, Alder?
Invoice for
Okay,
it. It go, once it gets back into the power, it goes back into the fund.
okay. Thank you for clarifying. Let's vote.
Thank you, guys. Motion to approve general purpose school fund budget amendment 141-9, items 1 through 7, in the amount of $949,675.32, with $850,000 coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
Okay, we have a second by Cody McLean. I'm sorry, Aaron, did you read item number 8?
That's the one I just read.
You mentioned cents, and my number 8 doesn't have any cents.
$949,675.32.
No, that's not what we have.
Which one's the budget amendment?
Budget number 9, on the 141 fund. It's 943,550 how it's printed.
So I got an extra copy, so.
So they added 32 cents, pay for the extra copy.
I guess so. $6,125.32.
It's $943,550.
Yeah, okay, let me change that motion to approve general purpose school fund, budget amendment 141-9, items 1 through 6. 7, I guess that's the different, amount of $943,550 with $850,000 coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
Okay, so Cody, do you still want to be the second?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All right, please vote. you're ready, Chair.
All right, next up, sorry. Motion to approve Head Start Fund Budget Amendment 145-5, Item 1, in the amount of $6,125.32, with no funds coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
All right.
It's number 9, I think. Here.
Oh, sorry. Motion to approve School Federal Projects Fund Budget Amendment 142-10, Item 1, in the amount of $1,641,000, with no funds coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
So we actually have Andrew Odom showing up as the motion and Fraser showing up as the second. Any question on this motion? All right, please vote.
Jinx myself.
Next.
All right, number 10, motion to approve Head Start Fund Budget Amendment 145-5, Item 1, in the amount of $6,125.32, with no funds coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
Motion by Fraser, second by Deal. Vote. Motion passes.
Motion to approve Food Service Fund Budget Amendment 143-3, Items 1 and 2, in the amount of $11,150, with no funds coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
Second is by Lisa Childress. Please vote. Pass.
Motion to approve School Federal Projects Fund Budget Amendment 142-9, correction in the amount of $52,135.87, with no funds coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
Second is by Nancy Brennan. We're voting.
That was the one that was just a correction to a previous vote amendment. All right, number 13, motion to approve monetary donations to the animal shelter in the amount of $3,116.
Motion by Fraser, second by Deal. Let's vote.
Lastly, motion to approve non-monetary donations to the animal shelter in the amount of $854.27.
And second is by Thomas Profit. Let's vote.
Thank you, sir.
And motion passes.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Chairman Nick Holter's coming with the health and welfare committee recommendations.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the AED policy that should have been in your packet. He does a good job, so I feel fine.
Okay. Motion is made by Todd Smith and seconded by Steve Burrow. Do they have any questions on the AED policy? All right, let's vote.
Thank you all. One other thing on the health and welfare consideration, resolution authorizing Carter County to join the state of Tennessee and other local governments in amending the Tennessee State Subdivision Opioid Abatement Agreement and approving the related settlement agreement.
Motion is made by Commissioner Angie Odom and seconded by Commissioner Aaron Frazier. Any discussion, any questions for our attorney? All right, let's vote.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Chair. All right, now Chair Prophet is coming to close the bylaws meeting.
Like to
put in the form of a motion to approve acceptable policies and agreement for computer services, internet access, and electronic mail for all county employees to sign and supplement existing policies in employee handbook.
Okay, seconded by Nick Holder. Just so we don't have to change what you got up here, can we go with the motion by Gary Kemp? Is that okay? And a second by Nick Holder. And we'll just go with it. Any questions on this? This does not replace the other policy we have, it's just in addition to, school employees are used to signing something like this every year, so.
Yeah, the state auditors wanted us to have every employee sign this. So it just supplements what we already have, and it's, speaks for itself. It's just that everybody's responsible for their own activity on the county computers and internet access.
All right, let's vote. Motion passes. Thank you, Chair Profit. Is there any other committees that want to give a report this evening? Just update, it doesn't have to be the motion, talk about your committee. All right, well, I know all committees are working really hard, especially budget. Yeah, they come twice a week, every week for this period of time, so be nice to them. Be nice to our finance department. And come to those if you can, please. If there's no other committee reports, we'll move on to the county attorney report.
Okay, just kind of doing the general part. I always do first. As far as the litigation this month, there's, as always, the litter violation cases are ongoing. In Chancery Court, we prosecute those every month. There's 2 new complaints filed this month. I appeared for 3 total hearings this past month, and we got 1 case fully resolved and dismissed out of court. As far as the other work I do every month, as usual, there's a written report that will be included with the minutes. Happy to answer questions about any of that, but specifically tonight, I wanted to at least generally cover 2 litigation topics. As far as I'm concerned, generally in this meeting, but if some of you have additional questions that you don't want to wait and ask later, or something you're concerned about tonight, then we'll go into an executive session. I'll speak in more detail. But first thing is the TDEC order and fine assessment that we've talked about a couple of different times in executive sessions. That is finally completely settled, subject to your all's approval. It's the approval I'm seeking is what you've already given me, I think, twice before now. But essentially, I have the final number of the fine that has to be paid within 60 days. The agreement will, of course, be public record and published on TDEC's website when it's done. But essentially, it sets forth the areas that are in non-compliance and the timeline to get into compliance, which for the most part is July of this year. Some things extended through September, but for the most part is the end of July. And as we talked about before, the exact number of the fine is $5,785.25. And that amount will have to be paid in full within 60 days of the final approval, which I believe will happen tomorrow. Which I think they've already sent it to the mayor, maybe not yet, but I've approved it to be sent on to the mayor. So as soon as that happens, 60 days from that day, so if the budget amendment next month or whatever that may entail, that is the settlement agreement that you all have, like I said, essentially authorized twice already. Bringing it up here tonight just for full disclosure, so you'll know what the final number was. The second thing, there's no detailed questions about that, is new litigation that was filed.
Hold on just a second. I think there is a question from the mayor.
Okay.
I just have a question, just for transparency purposes. On the fine, have we determined that we're being fined for non-compliance? What is the basis of the fine?
Yeah, so the actual civil penalty is $1,600 for I guess per se non-compliance, and those amounts could go up. The requirements of the settlement aren't met if the program deficiencies aren't cured within the extended time limits we were given. So I can say that I've been part of a meeting and Director Fuller and Will Miller, the Stormwater Program Director, there are ongoing submissions from them for things that EDEC is asking for. My understanding, everything is on track to get that for the submissions. The one thing that may present more of a problem is somebody's going to have to be hired as a mapper, I think, GIS person, and that's going to be contingent upon funding that the budget or that the planning commission asked for, and actually find somebody to hire. But I think of all the things I saw, that was the thing that concerned me the most, time-wise. But the actual fines as of now for deficiencies are $1,600. The other $41,8525 is the actual damages that are assessed for the cost of this borne by TDEC. And those things are unfortunately non-negotiable. If you ever look at any of the orders on TDEC, all their damages are always paid in full. The only way to combat that is to have it tested here. We will lose that contingency. So that will only cost more.
Director Schuler?
Ma'am.
Are we putting anything in place to prevent further non-compliance? Are we hired to not be fined anymore for the taxpayer?
Well, a whole lot of this situation is set up. We had everything in place, didn't sit in place for one individual, that is the division considered in place. So we're going back and rewriting everything to make it down to a third grade level instead of some individual having to look for the information that is set forth in our MS4 program. We were led in the wrong direction on some of our samplings and monitoring. Since then, that has been cured. Mrs. Carolyn's worked with me on that. That'll be in this next 5-year period, be taken care of the first 3 years. Mappers are hard to find. Everybody thinks they're coming out of ETSU, worth more than really what they are to get them started, or even to do the graduate program. Yeah, I can map it. We've been really busy right now getting all our other compliances as far as our level 2s and things of that nature for the ET program to manipulate there. So we've got that rolling. I don't think July 1st or July whatever it is, we'll have it done by June. I just need a little time to do the mapping. I can't get anybody, nobody out there, that you can get. So, if I can get some of these kids from the high school, let's say they've got to come in and work with us, they have to be 18. So, got screwed over there. So, but we'll make it happen. It's coming together. Everything was there in place except for 2 strings on their monitor. This last 5-year period, which was not clarified to us at the time. When this new GCP, we have it under control. We'll make it happen.
Okay, so without any more questions on that one, there was litigation filed against the county this past Friday. That was served on me just because I happened to unfortunately stop by the clerk's office on my way home, and there was someone there to serve me with a lawsuit. But anyway. But anyway, this is a gentleman, well, a married couple by the name of Cantalino, who have bought some property up around the lake in a I guess, gated subdivision up there. And they have submitted a plat to be approved. There were some issues, frankly, on both ends as far as plat submission and whether it was even available to be approved yet. So their lawsuit is for what they call the denial of their plat approval, which frankly hasn't happened yet. So my hope is that this matter can be resolved in fairly short order after the next planning commission meeting. That's my hope. So that's the general overview of the lawsuit. It's public record filed in the Chancery Court. And certainly I'll give anybody that asks me or wants to talk about it all the information I have. But to do that here, we'll have to go into an executive session. I just wanted to make you all aware of it, and that hopeful outcome is that it will be resolved within 2 weeks when the planning commission meets again. But unless y'all have any questions of me, that's the update.
Okay, so that brings us to the time of commissioner comments. Anybody like to speak? Dr. Higo?
Madam Chair, just one point for the record. We timestamp our convening of this commission. Somehow we never timestamp the adjournment. And I'd like to make sure that when we are adjourned, that receives a time stamp as well.
And that can be just me stating it verbally.
Yeah, for the record, it needs to be in the minutes. It needs to be in the minutes.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. Anybody else? Okay, I just want to have you all notice what's left in our month. April 20th is another budget hearing, 6:30. Know that, it's not at 6, it's at 6:30. April 24th, another budget hearing at 6. April 25th, planning, Parks and Rec, and another budget hearing. April 27th, another budget committee meeting. Okay, so notice those are still things you can attend this month. As far as me, I can just tell you, when I attend extra meetings, it's so much easier to come to this full commission meeting because I know what's going on, because you already discussed it thoroughly in your committees. So, I encourage it as you have time. Then, she has given out our May dates, and you all looked at it to make sure there's no discrepancy to any kind.
Correct your date on the center, because it does not match the dates on the red call.
Okay, so it just needs to say May 2023 instead of April at the top. And Aaron Craver, is there anything else?
There's a couple of the dates as far as publishing, what's it called? Publishing of the budget that are going to be modified on there. Because it pretty much up with mine and Carolyn's notes of what we originally had, but.
We didn't put them on this calendar.
Oh, we didn't put them on the calendar?
Okay. But I've already talked to the financial management meeting. Second, shows on here.
Okay, so are you all saying that there's dates on this sheet that are not correct?
We did not publish them on there because they're not actual meetings. They're on the budget calendar, but we did not put them on this.
Oh, okay, I thought she was holding up the budget calendar. Oh, sorry, my fault.
Yeah, I did at some, well, actually, I had them both over here, and you can't tell from back there what I'm holding up. So, just clarifying, all right.
Financial management meeting, I think was wrong.
Yeah, yeah, May the 4th for financial management. Yes, Todd.
I would like to thank everybody for getting our ducks in a row on getting our meetings streamed. That's made a big difference in the amount of phone calls I get, and also I'm sure I'm not the only one that's been watching those meetings when I'm not here. I can watch them online, and I really appreciate everybody's work on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you for saying. I'm open for the,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn by Frazier. Is there a second? Second by Avery Wynn. All in favor? Please stand up.
If y'all want a longer meeting, go to the next room and we'll just have a meeting. Have a meeting. Yeah, a little bit, all by.
8:05.
You notice, sitting by himself,
He ain't here at 9.
he's a brave soul with it.
Adjournment was officially 8:05. 8:05.